Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to Cloud Test Lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
And if you are able to open Spring code, and if you have Spring context, then Spring has many Spring context, okay, like file path, like we're gonna see that anyway, okay. So I mean to say Spring framework uses prototype. Absolutely, Spring framework uses a lot of stuff, okay. So Spring framework uses lot of stuff in between, like prototype. Spring also gives you Singleton, okay. So becoming a slate to be disadvantage of prototype design. Yes, there are disadvantages of prototype design. First thing is you will not be able to do all the changes which you needed. Consider in practical, I don't find a real example for that though, but you actually have to make the changes on the object. That's first thing. Second thing is, now what you're doing, think about this. You have, I told you, 4.5 MB object here. You are cloning it. 9 MB. Okay. Now let's imagine you have multi-threaded application who is calling this particular object. Okay. 100 thread calls that particular clone operation. What you end up in? MB. Right? But what was expected? I don't need this 4.5 MB. Probably after alteration, my object will be end up in 1 MB only. Okay. So I was expecting 1 MB per object, end up in 100 MB of data. And what I end up in? Not 450 MB, not 4500, 450 MB. So think about it. If my JVM size is 256, I calculated entire my object sizes with 1 MB. I calculated, okay, 100 MB is sufficient for me. I go ahead and implemented. Object was 4.5 MB. I created a clone, end up in 450 MB. I got out of memory, which was not designed. The JVM was not designed for that. So unnecessary, you will have lot of object creation. First thing, object maintenance, JVM heap size increment. Unnecessary, because you are anyway altering that particular object, right? So because of this kind of thing, prototype pattern only should be used whenever it's really needed. Okay. Generally, if you have that heavy object, make it as a singleton object, okay, and use it whenever you want it. But making it as a prototype and creating clones, sometimes it's cumbersome. Okay. How to check JVM size? Okay, so there are different ways to do that. First thing, the best thing you can do a check is in your Eclipse, there are properties called XMS and XMX. So these this is JVM minimum size and this is JVM maximum size. In Eclipse it's mentioned, and the file you should see called eclipse.ini. So this is a file where this particular things will be mentioned. And this is your maximum JVM size. This is onload JVM size. Okay. In eclipse.ini. Check that. Okay. If you mention that the interviewer may ask you about the factory pattern and they may ask about observer pattern, Do they work together? I mean, there is any correlation between them? No, there is no. So think about this. Factory pattern is giving you an object on selection. Okay, object on certain condition. Observer pattern will give you no, not observer, but this guy. Prototype pattern gives you a clone of an object. Okay. If there is a possibility that the returning object by factory pattern itself is a heavy object and you are returning a clone of it, it's absolutely possible that you can work them together. Okay, but here this is just a theoretical explanation, but practically you will not have such scenarios. Till date I haven't find anything. Okay, but yes, theoretically absolutely you can merge multiple patterns together. There is no problem in that. Okay. Sure, questions are awesome. Okay, so let's try to cover a very small pattern. I will not start on command and adapter. That's gonna take time. So let's take an example of DAO reality. Prototype observer factory. This is done. This prototype pattern using singleton. Prototype using singleton. Prototype using singleton. Yeah, you can. Let's see that if you have this heavy object is singleton object. Absolutely, you can use singleton pattern within prototype pattern and return with the factory pattern. You can merge multiple patterns as you want depending on your project requirements. Okay. Sure, there is no restriction on you. Once you are a Java programmer, it's your decision how to do it. Of course, it's architectural decisions as well. So whatever you want to code, just because you know this pattern very well, every solution must not be forcefully embedded into that particular pattern. No, that should not happen. Because I know singleton, every class I create is singleton. No, that's not a proper way of doing it. Okay, and don't do that. People do that. I know. People know command pattern. They try to find every solution with command pattern. That's not the real thing. Search for it. Google it. Take it patiently. But using proper pattern only will give you a proper answer. Okay. Okay, so let's really think about a DAO pattern. DAO is not a pattern as such. It's actually a way of implementing things. There is no class level hierarchy or structure we're going to create. So people, you understand that in MVC framework, we saw little glitch, little things about what is model, what is view, and what is controller. So we already saw that. So let's imagine an example. Let's consider an example called layers. So I will tell you what are the application layers you have. So first layer is called a service layer, and this is the layer where you get the request. Okay, this is also called as controller layer. Okay, basically it's controller and it's also called as service layer. Okay, so this is the client request. This service layer or controller layer actually calls business objects. Okay, and these business objects are generally singleton. Now I can use this word as a verb. Can you singletonize it and so on? Okay, so this is singleton. And this BO is a business object, has a logic, all the business logic in it. Okay, and few people call this as a business service. So do not get confused between service layer and business service. Okay, these are two different things. Okay, people who have EJB background generally call this as a business service. People who have web services background generally call this as a business object. And there is people who do not have any background generally call this as a modern object. So if people have different backgrounds, call it differently doesn't mean that that class is different. Okay, so this is business service as well. And now this business service is responsible for calling something called as DAO, data access object. Okay, which has your either JDBC or it has your Hibernate. Whatever you have for accessing the database will be here. Okay, your Spring JDBC, any kind of JDBC architecture which is interacting with the database. Why I use database here like this? In your practical example, you will never see database with this box. You will always see database with this box. Okay, so people have whatever I am using the notifications, you will see the notification in your actual window. Okay. So BO is a model. Did you say? Yeah, absolutely. BO is a model. So again, model is also a very widely used word for different things. So some people tells whatever has a business is a model. Some people say the transfer objects which we use to transfer these objects, okay, transfer the data is a model. But most importantly, few books says combination of these two is a model. Okay, and I like that explanation. Okay, nice questions. So now we're gonna understand how this guy works. Okay, so that is called as DAO architecture. So let's go back here, and we have something called employee DAO, and which is actually implements iTable. So let's see what is iTable. And iTable has a very basic method, and the basic methods are update, insert, and delete. Okay, and it takes iModel. Okay, remember also it has method select and it returns iModel. So what is this iTable and what is this iModel? iModel is a class which needs to be implemented by all the transfer objects. Okay, so all transfer objects. The employee implements iModel. Okay, and this iTable is implemented or used by DAO. DAO. Okay, so as soon as you implement iTable, excuse me, you will have all four methods to be overridden, right? So you created employee DAO, which implements iTable, which has very basic four methods: CRUD operation, create, read, delete, and update. Update and delete, CRUD, CRUD. Okay, so this is select, and it returns employee DTO. That satisfies your interface because interface is returning iModel, employee DTO returns, employee DTO extends or implements iModel. Okay, so you will have your select operation here. You will have update operation. You can pass employee DTO here. Basically, you should pass employee DTO here. What's going on? Update employee DTO, type employee DAO, must override and implement a superset method. Oh yeah, I will show you what is iTable. iTable just has these four methods. Okay, just have these four methods: select, update, insert, delete for every model class. Every model class. Okay, nothing else, and that's it. You just give an implementation for those methods in DAO pattern. So DAO pattern is nothing but how to implement your data access layer. Okay, so now if you see a demo, you can have employee DTO, you can create it, and you can see you have just call the DAO, insert employee. Okay, so you can create any kind of DAO and you can pass this object with the help of interface. So you just did nothing but basically this is an explanation of your DAO pattern. Okay, so DAO pattern is not architectural pattern, is just how to call a layer. Okay. Okay. What is the differentiate between DTO and DAO? Of course, we should have. Okay. So DTO is a data transfer object. So whenever I told you this one layer, another layer, another layer, so your employee details are passed from service layer to DO layer, DO layer to DAO layer. This is passed with the help of DTO, data transfer. Why it's not writing object. iTable and iModel follow. iTable, yes. iModel, no. People do not have model generally. Okay. But I love it because you can pass anything. And data access object is DAO. Okay, data access, data transfer. Okay. I will show you. This stage DAO is actually creating a DTO, data transfer object, creating an instance of DAO, and just calling insert method. Or you can call any method though. You can basically call anything. DAO dot delete iModel. So in iModel you can pass Okay, DAO has CRUD methods and the DTO has objects work on. Yes, DAO has CRUD method. DAO is data access object. Obviously, DAO will interact with the database. DTO will not interact with the database. DTO will transfer the object along with the different layer. Okay, nice question, Stephen. Okay, so I will stop here for a few more questions because if I start something, then it will go around like, because I need to explain you what is command and what is method. Oh yeah, sure, Sarita, go ahead, do that.
Rishi. Okay, so I got a little confused about DTO as compared to DAOs,
Okay.
the DAO layer. But as far as, I mean, from what you've said and what I've understood is that DAO is the one that the DAO layer helps us to get all the information from the database. I mean, do the CRUD operations.
Yes.
And DTO is used to transfer objects across different
Different
layers, right?
Yes.
So it can be from DAO to BO or from BO
Yes.
to the service layer as well?
Not or, and. So from
And,
DAO
okay,
to BO
okay.
and from BO to your service layer. So any layer, means whenever your employee information is coming from your screen and your controller, your servlet is getting that information, it will create this particular DTO, transfer that to BO. BO transfer this information to BO might be having this employee validation logic, whether the date is proper or not or something, and then BO transfer that DTO to your DAO. Okay, DAO inserts that or whatever, updates that, and return again if we need, then return that information again to BO and again goes back to service. So whatever information is going, that information is an object, and that object as it is transferring from different layer is a transfer object, and as is it carrying data is a data transfer object.
Okay. So in any framework, let's say that we are referring to the Spring framework, Spring MVC. Whenever the request hits the service layer at the controller or at the front controller, or where does it really? Because so the service layer starts from where is my question.
Okay, so that's what the confusion is. Service layer starts from whenever the client submits an information. So it can be any layer. It can be your front controller layer. It can be your controller layer. It can be your model layer. It can be your DAO layer. Okay. So whenever client, so if client is directly hitting the controller, then this is where your service starts. Okay. But basically in Spring MVC you are talking about, this guy is taking the request, right?
Right.
So here only your what I was talking about, service will start. Service layer will start. Okay. So basically how your framework is created doesn't make a difference in how we create DAO or model classes. Okay. This is plain Java.
Right.
Okay. So up to this point, framework does help to you. And after this, once you have this particular transfer object created, then everything is simple Java.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So
absolutely.
that's it. We don't worry about who is handling previously. We just worry about how to get this data to here and how to save this data or how to return this data. That's it. Okay.
Okay. Just one last question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So which one is? So there are different layers. I understand. So there is application layer, service layer, business layer, and all those things. Would you be able to kind of give the bifurcation of all of them?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what. Okay. So first thing is application layer is a different thing. So whenever we say application layer, this is different stuff. Okay. Within application, you have different layers. Okay. So the first layer I told you is a service layer, or the people who have struts or Spring framework controller layer. Okay. And here your request hits. Okay. This is the first layer. Second layer is your business object, or again this is also called as business service. Okay, I will not say BS, that means different meaning. Okay, and final, this thing is DAO, data access layer. So all your patterns and everything will come here. Okay, all your patterns and whatever you implement. But there is another layer called utility, which is not in any of these guys. Okay, utility layer means you have some functions for date validation. You have some functions whether string is null or not. Okay, so any layer can access these. Basically these two layers. Service layer should not do even utility operation. It's not meant for that. Okay, and this business layer is responsible for entire business logic. This DAO layer is responsible for entire database operation again. Now see the difference? I came out of application layer because this is DB. Okay, if you are generating a PDF from a PDF generator engine, then this is outside this application layer. Okay, so this is another. So that's why this is application layer, this is database layer, this is another application layer. Okay, so now whenever I'm giving this arrow, I'm transferring something from here to here. This is GTU. I'm transferring something from here to here. This is GTU. Okay, so this is the entire picture. You generally don't pass GTOs here. You just get the services and complete it. Okay, so this is actually an entire picture. This is not an entire picture though. You can have complicated structures. I really know some of the frameworks which are 7 layers. Okay, so don't worry about them, but this is the most common framework or architecture they use in industry. Okay, so if you go in any framework from today, okay, if you see any framework, try to analyze who gets the request first, who handles the request, and who saves the request. If you are able to analyze these 3 layers, you actually learned that framework. It can be anything from the day to day. It can be JSF. Start reading JSF and see who is handling the request. That is your service layer. Who is taking care of the request, like action classes, things, struts. Okay, who is taking care of that request? Who is taking care of those parameter user passes? That is your business layer. And who is saving it? Database layer. Okay. And obviously there is another layer which is showing an information back. Of course, that is also part of application, but this is view. And who is showing it? The way of showing it. And I just attached it to service because they are interacting. Not these are not interacting, or these are not interacting. Okay. Absolutely. View resolver. You know Spring very well. Okay. So this is how our application is architected. Okay. Nice question, super. And people who don't know Spring, don't worry about that. We're gonna start Spring next week. We'll understand Spring concepts, Spring basic concepts. Then we'll understand Spring JDBC, which is we added recently because of new questions coming into the students. We never had that. You don't have that on the S2K course, but we take it. And we finally have Spring MVC, which is really important. And this is another MVC framework which we're gonna learn. Okay, just like struts. Sure, Sarita, please go ahead. No, we do not have one more struts. We will only have struts 2. We will not have struts actually. We replaced original struts with struts 2 in our course. Okay. Sarita, you were asking something? Yeah, please go ahead.
So like any standalone application, the initiation starts from void main, right? But the web application?
Only for web application. This is web application architecture, not for standalone application.
Right. So, so the question that I have is that how do we start how does a web application start? I know the entry point is servlets, the JSPs, but I mean, how does it practically start is what I want to know.
Get you. Means what? Starting will what then start?
So, okay, this is one of the questions that the interviewer asked me yesterday. She said that I wrote the application, I wrote the entire framework, and I wrote static void main. So she said that static void main is what would start a standalone application. But how does a web application work? How does it start? So I wasn't able to answer that, but I mean, I don't know what this meant.
The entry point is always servlet. So even if it is a web application, when it's actually, so if you are asking how web container itself starts, then again, it again goes back to public static void. And practically, if you really search through Google and search through all the forums, you will end up in finding that answer. That framework actually gets initialized with public static void mode. So even Tomcat has that method. Yes, container also starts, because think about it, web application is for you. Container is a standalone, right?
Right.
So container has to stand alone to serve you as a web container. It starts with the public static void mode. And there is no challenge to that question. Till date, Java never gave another option to start at home.
Okay.
So that is always an answer that even if it is a web application, if you are talking about a container starts with the help of main method.
Okay, so it's not that you get the var and you deploy it and that starts.
Absolutely, you get the var. You get the var, you deploy it on the Tomcat. But how does Tomcat start?
Okay.
At the end of the day, you need to know what you exactly want to know. Whether how your web application starts or how Tomcat starts.
She asked me about the web application. So I
think web application is actually gets deployed in Tomcat. Your classes will be loaded by the class loader. Okay. So that is an entire different concept, and we can discuss it someday. Remind me. I will tell you whole set of theory called as class loader.
Definitely.
There are multiple set of class loaders. Bootstrap and framework and container and all sort of things. We will discuss that one day definitely. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Sure. So we're gonna stop today. And we will continue with our design.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website h2kinfosys.com. On our website h2kinfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.